Hey, it's me, MLV. I am back with a brand new book, audiobook. This one is a Bakugou X female listener, as you've probably already worked out by the thumbnail. A little about the book before we start. There are two heated scenes between Yin and Bakugou in this book, so I have omitted them for the sake of YouTube's guidelines, but I will link the scenes in the description of that chapter so that you can read it on Quirky Fanfics if curiosity gets the better of you. And I also will be taming down Bakugou swearing as well, so he'll be a lot more mellow in this version. This story is heavily inspired by Your Name, Kimi no Na wa by Makoto Shinkai, with the soulmates body swapping aspect, but then I do take it in a different direction after they have swapped bodies for a bit. Now, usually with reader or listener insert stories, I would keep the appearance or preferences in food and dress bland, so that as not to profile a specific type of person, and thus keeping it more open for everyone being able to insert themselves or an OC into the story. But for the purposes of plot in this story, I have inserted some things just to illustrate the differences between Bakugou and yourself, so please just roll with it. I am aware that some of these things won't apply to you as an individual, but I do hope that you enjoy the story anyway. Again, I'd like to apologise in advance for the pronunciation of Bakugou Katsuki's name. The Aussie accent tends to butcher most things. Quick story time, probably not going to be that quick, so just get comfy. Some of you know that I had a little boy last year. Yes, he is gorgeous, thank you for asking. Anyway, after I had him, I caught up with a friend of mine who is Swedish, beautiful person. She was asking all the usual questions, like, how are you going? Have you got everything you need? I was super excited to catch up with her because I had just been gifted a beautiful pram, like one of those really cute ones, the older style pram with the big spoke wheels, a little cover hood thing that shades Bub's eyes. You know, now this pram looks super expensive, so I looked it up and it turns out it's a top line Swedish brand pram. So anyway, when my friend asked if I had everything, I excitedly replied with, "Oh yeah, I got a really nice pram given to me. It's Swedish." And she's like, "Oh, what pram is it? What brand is it?" So then I'm like, "It's Imaljanga." Now, bless her, I have just completely butchered the name of this beautiful pram, and she looks at me like, you know when you pick up a chocolate biscuit and you think it's choc chip, but it's actually raisins, not choc chip pieces, and you just feel utterly betrayed? Yeah, she kind of gave me this look and then blinks her eyes a few times to compose herself, and she goes, "Do you mean Imaljanga?" And I died. I was like one of those anime boys when they've royally messed up and they're down on the ground with their forehead smashing into the floor, apologising profusely. Yeah, that was me. So Bakugou's name is going to be butchered and he's going to have an Aussie accent for this story, so you're welcome. Without further ado, let's start with chapter 1 of Why You, Why Me. You sat up with a jolt, your eyes scanning the room around you. "Oh, not this again," you groaned internally and rubbed your eyes. You were in a strange yet familiar room. Strange because it wasn't your room, but familiar because this had happened once before. Last week you had magically started swapping bodies with a boy named Bakugou Katsuki. He had a ripped body and was damn good looking, but had a bit of a temper from what it sounded like, the way people acted around you. Fortunately, the first time that you swapped bodies was on a weekend, so you had the whole day to rummage through the things in his room to find out as much as you could about him. This time was the weekend as well, and you thanked your lucky stars that it wasn't on a weekday. You knew he went to UA High School, and he had a quirk, which was cool. You didn't have one. His quirk was explosion, and he could detonate blasts from his hands. You tried it out in his room and left a hole in the wall. Whoops, sorry Bakugou. He had a good dress sense and liked to watch movies. His mum seemed nice enough, and his dad was a sweetheart. They were really worried about you when you came downstairs in the morning and greeted them politely. His mum got suspicious right away and claimed that it was someone else in his body, which it definitely was, but you couldn't tell her that. That night, you and he magically swapped back again, and you woke up in your own room. Much to your delight, it was a relief. You skipped happily down the stairs and looked into the lounge room. Your two sisters and grandma were there. "Hi guys," you greeted them chirpily. They turned to look at you and froze. "Are you okay today, Yin?" your youngest sister Mika asked. "Yeah, why?" you asked in confusion. Because yesterday I asked how you were and you swore at me, she said, pouting. You gasped. You never swore. Oh, Bakugo must have sworn at them. Oh, I'm really sorry, Mika. I was just having a bad day, you replied sheepishly. Period? Your other sister, Zura, asked. Yeah, you replied, not really knowing what other excuse to use. Your grandmother eyed you suspiciously, but didn't say anything, so you excused yourself and went to the kitchen. Your mum and dad were there having breakfast. Morning, Mum. Morning, Dad, you said with a bright smile. Do you want extra spicy noodles again this morning? Your mum asked you, a hint of confusion in her voice. But I don't like hot. You were about to say that you didn't like spicy things, but you stopped yourself. Oh, must have been Bakugo's preference. Oh, no thanks, Mum. I'll have my usual breakfast today. You smiled sweetly again. Okay, she said, watching you suspiciously. You sat down and ate breakfast, then prepared for school, wondering what to do about this swapping bodies thing. How many times was it going to happen? That night, you and Bakugo swapped again, and you awoke to his alarm in his room. It was a Tuesday morning. Oh, crap, school! You pulled yourself out of bed and turned his alarm off. Glancing over into the mirror, you checked out his body. Damn, this boy is cut, you thought, running your hands all over his chiseled abs. You looked at the face in the mirror and peered into the brilliant red eyes that stared back at you. What a face. You walked down the hall to the shower and paused. Oh no, I have to take a shower. I have to take his clothes off. You panicked a bit and then closed your eyes, removed the clothes, and then hopped into the shower. The hot water felt great on your back, and you tilted your head back and ran your fingers through the thick ash blonde hair. You peeked out of one eye and grabbed for the soap, lathering yourself up and avoiding any embarrassing areas as much as possible. You managed to have a decent shower, then came to the drying part. All was going well until it came to Bakugo's nether regions. You froze, eyes still shut. How the hell do I dry this without touching it? You paused, then bunched the towel up thickly in your hand and slapped it over his crotch, patting ferociously. Yep, that ought to do it, you thought triumphantly, wrapping the towel around your waist and opening your eyes. First shower ever complete. You grinned and flung the door open. His mum was standing right there and you screamed. A very high-pitched scream. She fell apart laughing. Katsuki, you scream like a girl, she cackled. That's because I am one, you thought. Sorry, you replied hurriedly and slipped past her. Sorry? She yelled in awe and surprise after you as you waddled off down the hall. Who are you? What the hell is wrong with this Bakugo guy? Why doesn't he have any manners? You thought. You shook your head and got dressed with your eyes shut again. You threw down the breakfast quickly and raced out the door, grabbing his phone out and punching in the directions to UA. You found it easily enough and walked through the gates. A happy, good-looking, muscular redhead came up to you and said good morning. You replied in your usual happy way and he looked confused. You didn't call me shitty hair, he said, almost sounding hurt. Oh, sorry, shitty hair, you replied happily, and he nearly passed out. Sorry, he wheezed. You looked at him, confused. What the heck was wrong with these people? Kaminari, the redhead yelled. Come here, bro, say hi to Bakugo. I'd rather not, the boy called Kaminari said, sauntering over. You looked him over. He was cute. He had yellow hair with a black lightning bolt through the fringe, and a very friendly-looking face. Sup, dude, he said casually. Hey, you replied brightly, your face lighting up like a Christmas tree. Kaminari froze, then burst out laughing. What the hell? He gasped. Bakugo, your face! What's wrong with my face? You asked, touching your cheeks. Bro, you actually look happy. You just smiled. You didn't have that permanent scowl on your face. Are you okay? The redhead asked. A scowl? You questioned. Like this? You scrunched your brows up and gritted your teeth. Yeah, that one. That's your usual look, the redhead said, laughing again. This feels so uncomfortable. What is wrong with this Bakugo guy? Why is he so angry at the world, you thought? And there ends Chapter 1 of Why You Why Me. Stay tuned for Chapter 2 coming tomorrow.